Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. This is Victor. We're going to do another episode in our The System series. And I invite you on YouTube and BitChute, where they let you make playlists. There's some interesting stuff on there if you check it out. We may not be on YouTube after this video from the preview I just got before filming, just saying. But basically, when we talk about the system, like capital Z, capital S, we're talking about everything. We're talking about elected politicians. We're talking about staffers in DC. We're not talking about state and local governments. We're talking about three-letter agencies. We're talking about the corporate media acting as the propaganda arm. What did I miss? The bankers, the feds, and the Federal Reserve is what I meant.
Alternative media.
Okay, yeah, alternative media, a lot of it, the main ones,
Yeah.
right. So we're just talking about this entire thing that's keeping you from doing things like getting the federal income tax abolished, which would be grossly popular.
Yeah.
But so anyways, Victor's going to tell us about the system. What do you got?
All right. So I'm going to propose a theory to you that you can figure out on your own what the system is afraid of. Okay. And you do this by just watching the system. So we've all seen different levels of censorship on YouTube and whatever. And, you get a strike or something for, going against the flow, or maybe even get deplatformed, that type of thing. And there's this, I'm just going to call like level 1 censorship, which is the normal stuff. But I'm proposing that they have a second level of censorship that is, they're so afraid of you getting these ideas that they treat it differently. So the first one is COVID. So when that came out, you couldn't even say the word COVID or coronavirus. People were calling it the beer bug, corona, the coof, and
coof,
just so that their little automated, programs checking your video wouldn't flag it as something as misinformation or that type of thing. And because they were extra afraid of the control that they were going to get through COVID, of them not getting it. And the same with the vaccine. And the really great one, I think, is the 2020 election. So this thought came to my head when we were talking about I believe it was a town hall with Donald Trump on CNN.
Yeah, recently, yes.
Yeah, and he would keep saying stuff about the 2020 election, and the moderator would look at the camera and say there was a free and fair election or whatever.
Yeah, that's not true, Mr. Trump. That's not true. It was everything was good. Yeah.
Right. And just completely shutting this down every single time. And then you mentioned you saw something on alternative media where someone who doesn't matter who was doing an interview and did the exact same thing.
Similar, but this guy was giving the arguments. But like as the moderator and him, because he's live streaming it. Okay. And he's yelling, no, it wasn't that. It was the ballot harvesting. It was the this and that. And it's like, wow,
And then, but the host would then shut it down and go, it was a fair election?
No, there's the host's idea is that it was rigged. Okay. No, I don't mean it like that. I don't mean it like they cheated. I mean like it was rigged, like the ballot harvesting laws were in favor of the Democrats. Okay. Do you know what I'm saying?
So they were playing within the rules, but it was...
Right, but the rules are trash. Like in Pennsylvania, where the Republicans got on board with something that was completely unconstitutional, and the court just said, you live with what you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it was fortified in such a way that, you know what I mean?
Okay. So in my mind, I see how they're treating the 2020 election different than how they treat other censorship. And so I got to thinking, like, why is this so important? Why can you not question this at all? And going way off the deep end here, so bear with me.
Yeah, ready.
Everyone. So
YouTube, get ready to hit the button.
Right. No, this is it. Okay. Or one of the times. Okay. So you have the most heavily armed population in the history of the world. How do you keep them from kicking you out of power? And it isn't through military boots on the ground and that type of thing. You give them a democracy, and they have to believe they're free. As long as we're free, we're not going to do anything. No one's going to do anything.
I've thought this thought before. That's amazing. Okay. I've literally thought it.
Okay. So...
And then we go around saying, you know what we appreciate the most? Our freedom.
Yeah, we're going to vote harder.
The people who died for our freedom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
And I'm not disrespecting the dead.
Right.
But it's not for freedom.
Right. And like I was saying, the voting next year, people have to hold on to that, because if that isn't a thing, that means they're not actually free, and the whole illusion goes away, and then theoretically their power is in jeopardy.
I wonder if it's cowardice that prevents them from admitting it. Like they know 100% it's true, but if they take that into their worldview, then they also have to say they have to do something about it.
Right, or admit that they just don't have it in them. And
right.
My kids will take care of it.
So just say, oh, no, we'll get him next time. We'll do some things with the courts.
Right. Okay. So what are your thoughts so far? Is this, do you feel like there's different levels of censorship, or am I just way
No,
off
I think it's an interesting theory.
Okay.
Because I feel like when you were talking about the COVID censorship, that the COVID thing was just a hustle. It was a money game, not a control game.
Okay.
I'm talking about the experimental medication.
Okay.
It was everybody was profiting off this. You can't talk bad about it or sales will go down.
Okay.
Whereas the election is a control thing. And so it's a much higher level of importance as far as what the system fears.
Okay. But we've talked about, or you've talked to me about, you had a phrase for them trying to see how many people are in control, and like, remember the people that are rejecting the ideas? You had them in some category. This is just last week or two we talked about this.
I can't remember.
Oh, man. Okay. So, yeah, I guess I just see the whole COVID thing as almost even just a test run of how much control do we have? What can we get away with? And it was just another aspect, but the 2021 is definitely for me the key, like, control that they have, or the...
And it's interesting because basically you're putting like this second level at, you have to believe that you're free in this democracy.
Right.
But it's funny that the corporate media, with the propaganda arm of the system, always says, "Hey, but Donald Trump, he's going to ruin our democracy."
Right.
But it's already ruined. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like they're perpetuating the illusion that it's not ruined.
Right. He could theoretically ruin their control over everyone. Is really what the fear is.
Right. But even just saying that he could ruin it implies that it is in existence.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Well, everybody right.
Well, what we have now is free. Yeah. What he's proposing is not free. And then so the other one, controversial, YouTube, get ready. So,
is this all speech related? Is this what the system is afraid of as far as speech?
Yeah. It's just looking at how they handle different things.
Speech only, though? Is it what speech the system is afraid of?
No, I would say ideas too.
Okay.
And it would just be, what are the things that what names do they call the people who they hate the most? Now, there's sometimes you call people names because it's an actual derogatory thing based on morality or whatever. But there's other things that you could call people a name, like, let's just say Nazi. Are they afraid of those type of people? Are those the type of people who could hurt them the most? Therefore, they have to make it the worst thing ever.
I thought you were going to say terrorist, and I was trying to, where are you going to go with this? That's actually a good thought. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Okay. So yeah, that's the thought. What if that is the thing that the bad people are afraid of for some reason, Nazis?
Interesting. Because what would Nazis do if the masses of populations of this country were Nazis? What would they do? Right. They would end the banking practices. They would go for the free press, like actually a free press,
right? And fix immigration and do all these things,
right?
And
then they said no power whatsoever,
right? And because it's almost like they, what's the saying where you protest too much?
Methinks thou dost protest too much.
Yeah, like they push it so hard that you're Nazi and Donald Trump's a Nazi and all this kind of stuff. And what if that's one of that's their biggest fear?
Interesting. I like it. It's a great theory.
Okay. All right. So those are my thoughts. Just like, as you can watch, maybe there's going to be stuff in the future where something goes wrong or people figure things out, and you see a election 2020 type reaction where they're not forcing you, but just over and over again, it was free and fair, and just keep this in mind. And maybe that's another thing that they're afraid of.
Okay. So I didn't know you were going to go all speech, so I got one.
Oh, yeah.
I knew the title of the video, but this is his video.
Okay.
And I was thinking just a couple minutes ago, but it's kind of an obscure story. But if you'll recall, prior to January 6th, there was going to be 3 caravans headed towards the Capitol from 3 different directions.
Oh, yeah.
Do you recall?
I remember that.
And there were staging points for meeting the morning of the 5th to make long Trump trains or something.
Okay.
To go. And nobody ever talks about this at all. But like this was a big thing on what was the it wasn't Gab. What was it?
Discord?
No, it was that one with the red one. And remember they cut it out. That's where all the information was coming from the election stuff. the Q stuff. Do you remember? It was a social media app like Twitter.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. I don't remember.
Candace Owens is married to the guy who CEO of it or something. Anyways, you probably remember. But Parler.
Oh,
Remember Parler?
Yeah, I remember Parler.
That's where people were organizing. But nobody covers this. The morning of the 5th, when everybody arrived at these 3 different places, like a shopping mall, parking lot, and stuff like that, security had completely closed it down. So they had gotten orders from DC to shut down these 3 places, which are just parking lots.
Which are never closed.
Never closed,
Yeah.
right. So that all these people could not assemble. Because they knew that when the people assembled on the mall, you know the number's up to 1,000, nearly 1,000 people? I was watching Jimmy Dore the other day.
1,000 people what?
1,000 federal agents in the crowd.
Wow.
Yeah, Jimmy Dore was adding them up. He's like, okay, here's what we got so far. This is not the full number, but we got, okay, Secret Service admits to 80. You know what I mean? This and that. And they're like...
So it's not even theoretical numbers. This is what
No, these are the numbers that they've
admitting.
admitted to so far.
Wow.
But they still can't release the video because there's so many more they haven't admitted to. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, amazing. But what I'm saying is they probably felt, hey, we got this contained for a false flag over here. But we don't have these other sites contained, you know?
Okay.
And so, like, what I'm saying is unity of the people together in masses that they haven't predicted and controlled for with their false flags, their agents, their CHIs and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Good. Yeah.
So I would say that's a physical thing that they're afraid of.
Okay.
And then another physical thing you mentioned is the guns.
Oh, right. Yes.
They're terrified of the guns.
Yeah. We're watching a documentary on I'm going to use that term very loosely, on Waco.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And you remember the sniper from the HRT team?
Yeah.
Or it was one of them, and they were just terrified of the 50 caliber rifle.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
that's something that they were afraid of.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he was hot shot, like braggadocio.
Right.
Yeah, he was out there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very interesting seeing these things that these people are
right.
terrified of.
And it's interesting if people inadvertently work for the system all the time.
100%. Yeah.
Right. Like you don't have to be in the cool kids party. But when you are pushing for gun control, you're working for the system. If you're trying to take the guns away, like if you have an argument on, it's still unconstitutional, but the bump stock ban, like it's arguable, people are arguing, it's clearly unconstitutional, but maybe it's a good, you know what I mean? Whatever.
Okay.
But I mean, if you're working for the people who are like, we need to get rid of, those semi-automatic assault rifles. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you're that person, you're working for the system.
Right.
You're in.
It seems like it, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a foundation dumps a bunch of money in your lap to go campaign for gun control. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you're already doing the right thing. They don't got to convince you.
Right. You're already on their side.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's what I got.
Okay. So basically, we encourage you to go watch the other videos in the system playlist. We've got a lot of different ideas, starting from the very beginning. What is the system, and just going through a lot of aspects of it. And there's many more to come. If you're interested, hit like and subscribe. You can watch the future videos, and we're publishing new videos Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern.
Yep.
We hope to see you there next time. Bye.